Well, good evening, folks. This is a little video about this Lexmoto that I am trying to get running. So, a little update. When pushing this bike into the garage and onto the truck and off the truck, it was making a funny knocking, crunching sound from the back end, and I thought it was probably the drive chain doing something it shouldn't. And look at the state of that. I don't think that's seen any lubrication for an awful long time, so I thought, it's probably something to do with the chain. So unfortunately it was a no split link on that, so I got a grinder on it and cut it off because it was quite obviously knackered, and pushed the bike again and found it was still doing this sort of knocking, each revolution of the wheel, bang, crunch, bang. So obviously it wasn't the drive chain, so I took the rear wheel off. So here is the bike precariously lifted up with a hydraulic jack. Fortunately it's not a heavy bike, so I'm not unduly concerned that the jack will collapse. And I investigated the wheel and thought, wheel bearings, because it was definitely this knock, quite a knock. So I thought, right, I'll remove the bearings from the rear wheel. So one of them was a bit on the crunchy side, so I thought, but it didn't seem that bad. I thought, it can't make that knocking sound, this real. And I looked at the rear wheel was actually moving on the right hand side. It was actually moving forward, the axle. It appeared to be moving on the axle. So there's 3 bearings on the back end of the bike. So the first one is in the sprocket carrier. As you can see from that, I'm going to replace the nuts on that with stainless steel because the originals are quite manky. The axle itself is 12mm in diameter. So there is a bearing in the sprocket carrier, and the inner bearing race is obviously 12mm, so that the axle will go through it. And then I knocked out the 2 wheel bearings, one on the left, one on the right. So as you can see, that's the disc side of the wheel, and again, the external diameter, can't remember offhand what it was, but the internal bearing race is 12mm in diameter to take the axle. And that particular bearing seemed absolutely fine, although I will replace it with the other 2. So I thought, what is this? So I removed the other side. Well, having got rid of that one, taken that one out, there's a bearing spacer in the middle. So it's equidistant along that sort of welded washer in the middle, obviously to stop when you tighten your axle, it stops the bearings from straying on the bearings. So I took that out and I thought, right, I've got 1 bearing left on the non-disc side of the wheel, so I managed to tap that one out. And then when I looked at them, and well, you can see here, this is the cush drive side, so this is where the sprocket carrier would fit into. So basically the wheel has got 2 bearings, as we know, most people know. And on the wheel, they're actually the same external diameter as well. The sprocket carrier it's a bigger external diameter, but that doesn't really matter. So the wheel bearing it's 2 identical bearings. So here is a picture of the axle, which I've cleaned up with a bit of sandpaper and will grease when I put it back in. Bit of corrosion on it, but nothing excessive. So it's 12mm in diameter. So effectively, all of those bearings need to have an inner bearing race of 12mm. Now look at this picture now. Here are the 3 bearings. So the top 2 have got 12mm diameter inner race. The bottom one has got a 15mm inner race on it. So when I was looking at them, I thought, well, what is this? Why has this got 15mm? That's the one that was on the right hand side of the axle, the wheel, waggling about. And I thought, am I missing a spacer? Is it? I spent about 20 minutes trying to work it out, like some strange kind. And then I realised the wheel, as I said earlier, was moving on the axle and making this banging as I pushed it. And it's because somebody has put a bearing in with an inner bearing race that's 15mm in diameter, not 12. I don't know how you can do that. So I measured you know, the obviously I know the bearing in a race has to be 12 on all three of them. So the right hand side, no wonder the wheel was waggling on the axle. And that's probably what knackered the left-hand bearing, because it's all that strain on it. So I went onto eBay, measured them with a caliper, you know, vernier caliper. You'll find as well, if you're going to do bearings, if you go and buy a set, you know, like Lexmoto Venom rear wheel bearing set, you pay a lot more than just measuring the bearings yourself and just buying them. So as you can see there, that one £2.82 each. So I think I got two of those and one sprocket bearing, £7.50. So there it is. That would explain the horrible noise that it did. I can't understand how anybody could do that. Well, as Martin Owl commented on my previous video, you know, it's probably an impoverished teenager trying to do it themselves, can't afford to pay someone. So I won't be too harsh, but that's why the wheel was waggling on the right hand side. It was moving through 3 mil on the axle because the bearing, and the bearing itself was new, so somebody's put that in and, you know, it's waggled on the axle. So I've done that, and I'll be posting again soon once a new carburettor arrives. The electrics, as you know from the previous video, are sorted. I need to buy a rear tyre. I'm gonna have a leap of faith. I'm gonna make a leap of faith. I'm gonna buy the stuff I need, even though it's running. You know, well, I'm hoping it'll run. Now I've got electrics, but I'm gonna wait till I get the new carb and try to get it running. But I'm gonna buy the bits I need first: drive chain, bearings, and then a rear tyre. Because I think, well, it's a leap of faith. Tell me what you think. Am I being a twit buying all this stuff? Should I get the engine going first? I suppose logically I should, but I've just got a feeling. I think I'm going to be able to get it going. It did sort of splutter and then die once I got the electrics going. I did give it a go, but it just wouldn't run. So there it is. I'm going to finish now because somebody's phoning me, probably about cables, and I will post again soon. Bye for now.